Minister will be leaving for London. He'll be there for the rest of the week. He's set to meet with political and business leaders, and he's expected to be there to look for new economic opportunities for Canada. He's also going to be meeting with the leaders of Iceland, Australia, Spain, and Denmark. It comes, of course, on the heels of a trip to the United Nations this week in New York. Last week, he was in Mexico trying to strike a deal advancing economic and security ties. I want to bring in CTV's political commentator and former NDP leader, Tom Mulcair. Tom, good morning. Always great to see you.
Morning, Marcia.
How did Carney do at the UN this week? Let's start there.
It came as a bolt from the blue last weekend when Carney put out a one-pager describing Canada's new attitude in the Hamas and Israeli war. It really did come as a bit of a surprise to the extent, even though we can say that recognition of a two-state solution, it has always been part of Canadian foreign policy. It came just as he was heading to the United Nations, and it was heavily slanted against Israel. That was, of course, the victim of a horrific terrorist attack almost exactly 2 years ago. Now everybody has been watching in horror at what's been happening in Gaza, and as Prime Minister Carney said, Canada felt that it had to do something. We'll see how that one plays out. But I think that on that stage, he was talking to an audience that included many people who simply agreed with him. He was very, very wise to avoid too much Trump. He didn't react too much to what Trump's bizarre, meandering one-hour rant, and now asking for an investigation because he was sabotaged at the UN. I think he sabotaged himself, but that's beside the point. I think overall, Carney's performance was excellent. He's admired and respected on the world stage, Marcia. He's not just the Prime Minister of Canada. People see in him someone with more expertise than almost any other leader, certainly in the Western world, on economic matters writ large. And I think that it's something that works in Canada's favor, and we're seeing that as he visits today Ireland, of course, and later go to London in Great Britain and talk with a bunch of like-minded countries that are going through very much the same thing with the United States. And that's something that Carney said since day one he wants to do, to build new partnerships. And I think this is part of that exercise.
Yeah, Scott Reed and I were talking about how comfortable Carney seems with other world leaders on the world stage. I want to pick up, though, on your point, because the Conservatives are saying, or will they say, are we really seeing the net benefits of Carney's trips abroad? What is he coming back with after these visits, Tom?
Well, I spent more time in opposition than I did as a minister, and I was a minister for a few years here in Quebec. So I'm very sympathetic to the need for opposition parties to oppose. But at some point, they've also got to propose and show that they can be a government in waiting. They can't have it both ways on the Conservative side. They can't, on the one hand, constantly say, this is an unparalleled crisis, we've got to do something about it, and then the minute the Prime Minister goes to the United Nations or goes to Great Britain to do just that, to deal with it on the international stage in New York at the UN, to deal with it with international partners in London, they can't say, well, where are you? What's happening? You're not taking this seriously. That's the problem with the Conservatives' constant nagging approach. All you got to do is this, all you got to do is that. And when they say things like that, Marcia, they're just showing their total lack of experience and expertise. That's why Carney is so appreciated. And Canadians generally see in Carney somebody who knows what he's doing, who can handle these big things. Can the Conservatives continue talking to their base successfully? Absolutely. And they did very well in the last election, and they were only a few points off from the Liberals. But that was down from the 28% lead that they had. And some of that has to do with attitude. If the attitude is constantly nagging, constantly complaining, constantly finger-pointing, constantly saying that the other guys are just no good, when Carney is respected and considered very good by everybody else in the world, maybe the Conservatives are the ones who are offside here.
Tom, we'll leave it there for this morning. Tom is our CTV News political commentator and, of course, the leader, former leader of the NDP. Now